Presuppositional apologetics is the most biased, closed-minded, and arrogant abdication of reason, logic, and critical thinking I've yet encountered from the religious douche nozzles. This ridiculous form of non-argument presents a litany of bare-naked faith-based assertions without any pretense of objectivity and effectively walls itself off from the very possibility of critical dialogue. It blatantly and baselessly asserts that all knowledge and reason stems from the Christian God and that faith in their favorite supernatural entity is the only basis for rational thought. It claims that the very validity of the act of argumentation itself must necessarily presuppose the existence of the Christian God. It asserts that apart from presuppositions, one could not make sense of any human experience, and there can be no set of neutral assumptions from which to reason with a non-Christian. It arrogantly asserts that logic and reason are only possible through a Christian worldview, and thus atheists and agnostics are employing a Christian methodology when they attempt to refute God. It presupposes that the Bible is divine revelation because, you guessed it, the Bible says so. And naturally they support the claim with, what else? Bible verses, like Corinthians 2:14.
But the natural man does not receive the things of the Spirit of God, for they are foolishness to him, nor can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned.
And to cap it off, it brazenly asserts that everyone secretly knows a God exists. Proponents of this apologetic bullshit have not only deluded themselves into thinking that they have a special conduit to divine knowledge, or what I call magic mental osmosis, which, by the way, would make praying before a test cheating, but also that those who disagree with them have no basis upon which to even employ reasoned argument, because to do so is to acknowledge the existence of their God, the source of all reason and logic. This is applied to both logical and moral argumentation. The transcendental argument thus asserts that all arguments that Christianity is either false or should not be believed are therefore self-defeating, for the person doing the arguing must unknowingly adopt the very presupposition he is arguing against in order to argue against it. Of course, this same nonsensical garbage can be claimed by Muslims, Jews, Mormons, or any other religious nutbag, and with the same degree of conviction. But it still doesn't make it any more convincing than the statement, "Because I said so." Presuppositional apologists attempt to bolster their non-argument by stating that there are certain things about the universe for which only their God myth can account. For instance, moral absolutes. Now this is an arrogance that I find particularly galling. In the interest of time, I won't go into a long discussion of it here, but will instead refer you to the Euthyphro dilemma and one of my earlier videos, Holy Crap Volume 3, Objective Morality. Other arguments they employ include the uniformity of nature, the law of identity and law of non-contradiction, mathematical laws, intelligibility of the universe, and absolute truths. Now we can attempt to debate the philosophical arguments or refer to the quantum and astronomic scales to dismiss the validity or relevance of the proofs the presuppositionalist proposes, but when their position claims divine providence for the very acts of argumentation, logic, and reason, and layers a huge dollop of circular reasoning on top, debate is pointless from the outset. In the end, it's just mental masturbation. And frankly, even if all of the aforementioned concepts were proven to be absolute and unchanging, it still takes us nowhere near the position that a supernatural entity exists as the presuppositionalist asserts a priori. With all that said, I can certainly understand the appeal of this apologetic claptrap to those who have little education and no appreciable grasp of logic, reason, or reality. What a comfort it must be to have absolute certitude that you know all the answers and no evidence or argument could ever prove you wrong, because any contrary viewpoint can just be dismissed without consideration. Now I have an idea for a new presuppositionalism. Let's presuppose that religious belief imposes a mental disorder which causes believers to lose the capacity to accept reason and evidence that contradicts their beliefs. The selective nature of this delusion allows in only those bits of information that support their preconception and blocks all contrary data. Oh, wait, that's not new. It's just an observation of any religious zealot. But if you think that starting with a conclusion and then filtering all data through your religious bias is a valid means of increasing knowledge,
Error.